Welcome to our 10th podcast on Reachminds Thoughts for Your Life's Journey. In this podcast, we will be exploring connecting the body and mind together in a holistic ways to create simple wisdom for better health. Today, I'm joined by the lovely Anji Gopal, who is a back care expert and founder of the Back Care Foundation. She's also an osteopath and a yoga teacher. Her work focuses on using yoga-based practices to find better health for patients, students, and organizations. And I know that I have certainly benefited myself from her yoga practice. Over the last 15 years, she has built an area of clinical practice and expertise in yoga, back care, running innovative yoga-based programs for chronic back pains for patients in London Hospital. There is also a wealth of research and evidence that practices from ancient yoga methods are good for health. Remember that meditation, mindfulness, gentle movements, breath work, all have their roots in the yoga traditions. Anji is an ex-banking professional. She knows time is often short and that we need simple, practical, and powerful technique to support our health. From this, she has developed simple wisdom for better life in her practice. Welcome, Anji.
Hi, Nita. Thanks for having me on.
Great. Now, we have lots of questions to ask you. Let me kick off in terms of simple wisdom for better health. Can you define why do we need simple wisdom?
I'm sure that you've noticed, and everyone listening or watching has noticed, that the world is getting more complex and more complicated, right? So much noise in terms of choices that we have to make in life, big ones, small ones, everything in between. What we're offered as consumers, what we have to make as choices we have to make as parents, as workers, as family members. Life is just getting more and more complicated. And so we do need simplicity because sometimes that noise is overwhelming. And in my view, that applies as much to health and wellness as it does to everything else, right? Consumerism and whatnot. And I think whilst people like you and me, we want to help those around us live more easeful lives, we just seem to be sometimes complicating the issue of health and wellness. We've got books and even podcasts, right? More and more content just coming at normal people.
Yes.
And sometimes it feels overwhelming. I know I feel overwhelmed and I work in this field. And I don't know if you've ever seen, the shelves of self-help books, new methods for this, new methods for that, right? You can get all those books, but at the end of the day, very few of us actually do those things. So for me, I just feel, how can I make some of that knowledge very simple, very practical, and therefore really helpful? So that's the simplicity bit. Then in terms of wisdom, so I'm from a scientific family. There are a lot of physicists in my family, and I've got 2 scientific degrees. There's a wealth of research evidence out there for loads of things, right? As humans, we're now scientists. We're delving right down into small detail of science. But sometimes I feel in health, we've lost the ability to help people with meaning and the practical tools to help. Because just a molecule of scientific knowledge isn't always practical use for you and me in this moment. And at the same time, the wisdom traditions, so yoga being one of them, they have a lot of what we've got. And actually the science is backing up what the wisdom traditions told us millennia ago. So, as you said, mindfulness, meditation, practices of gratitude, moving gently and slowly, all of breathing, all these things were there, bringing the 2 together. Simple wisdom. Does that lead to better health?
How can an individual know what is better health then? You talk wonderfully about all of those different things that come together. How do we know what better health is for ourselves?
I think this is where we have to spend a little time and work out what better health is for each of us. And sometimes, and I think we're not very good at this, perhaps, is stepping back and saying, what do I need my health for? As someone with a clinic and a client base, I often see people that are sick, right? People come to me because they're sick or something's hurting. But what if we could focus instead on why we need good health? The World Health Organization, their definition of health defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease or infirmity, right? Yeah. Complete physical, mental, and social as well, right? Being, not just the absence of disease. Better health means different things to different people. Some people want to run a marathon. Some people want to win an Olympic medal. Some people just want to be able to pick up their grandchildren or to walk the dog or to feel better in our heart or calm in our mind. And as you said to me earlier, right now, what do you need your health to be? Look at it now in this moment. And so I think we each need to explore what health looks like. And at the same time as, we've got billionaires IV dripping things into themselves and this new sort of big area of longevity coming up in health. For me, again, that's an overcomplication of what really health should be about, right? What do you need your health to be today?
That's a really powerful question. I'm thinking about for myself is, what do I need my health to be before it becomes my body's going, something's wrong here. So I think it's a very wise question. And I'm just wondering, do we ask ourselves that question at all, do you think?
I don't think we do. I think some people maybe do. I'm in my 50s. I know younger sort of personal trainers and physios and bodybuilders. They're working on their body, but I'm not sure they're working on their health, for example. And I think we haven't inculcated our young people, even us, with this idea of questioning what health is. It should be as much on your radar as planning for your pension. And perhaps it's because we rely so much and we have had the, good fortune to rely on the medical world to be there when we needed pieces picked up. Instead, we've become a society that thinks more about disease than health.
Absolutely. And I also, what that triggers for me, Angie, is a sense around how much we take, or how much I take my body for granted, and how much I don't pay attention to it because I think it's here, and I don't need to pay attention to it at all because I will keep going until it's telling me you can't go anymore. And I love your connection between the mind and the body. I think that is so powerful. And again, I'm curious whether individuals combine that in their own self. When someone's working on their body, are they really working on their mind as well? And which leads me to the question around your practice of being an osteopath and yoga teacher. How do you combine both of those together in terms of the somatic health impact on the mind?
The two are so well connected. For those that don't know, so osteopaths in the UK, it's a registered and regulated profession. We all have 4-year master's training, like physios and chiropractors. And we are osteopaths for about the last 10 years have been earmarked or registered as allied health professionals in the NHS. So just like physios, paramedics, podiatrists. So I think whilst your audience might think of osteopaths perhaps as being a complementary therapy, yes, it can be, but some of us are more in the sort of medical or musculoskeletal medicine arena. My osteopathic training and time that I spent working in the hospital in the NHS, especially with chronic pain patients, gave me a real sort of clinical framework with which to diagnose and treat my patients. So for me, I feel I come at things from both ends, the yoga-based practices, but also this understanding of the body and modern medicine. But often pain in the body, even low back pain, particularly low back pain, comes from issues elsewhere, right? Stress, we've all felt it. Spend all day at the laptop like this and your neck will hurt. You've got a deadline. And often it's stress or tension that is the trigger to send someone to the clinic. I think, and then from there, pain, physical pain, starts to affect how we feel. For example, if I give you an example, someone who has back pain, it starts in their back. They've got this back pain. It's a bit grumbly, but it carries on for a little while. Maybe it started because they picked something up badly, and at that time they were stressed, and so they don't have time to go and do some exercise or to rest. Then they have to stop, or they feel because of the pain starts to worry them, but they feel that they have to stop doing something that they love. So we start off, so number one, there's the incident that happens. Number two, we start to worry about it because it's not getting better. Then that starts to make us scared and we stop trusting the body perhaps as much as we would. So we go, oh, I've got this back pain, and we talk about it a lot and we think about it a lot. And then for some people that starts to lead to behavioral change, right? You can't go on the run that you used to love doing. You can't pick up your grandchildren from the floor. Yeah. You can't walk the dog as far as you wanted to. And then all of a sudden we've got this knock-on effect of physical discomfort becoming a mental discomfort.
Yeah.
And that bit of suffering that happens there, the pain of not doing something you love, is generally always worse than the thing that started it, right? And so I think whilst, again, medicine, and I'm not here to diss medicine, I work with lots of consultants. If I've got a broken leg, I'll go to the hospital and take an ibuprofen. But I think medicine really stovepipes the disciplines. The psychiatrists are in one building, the therapists are in a different one, the orthopedics are in a different one, and yet our experience is all in the same vessel. So how can we find ways in healthcare? And it's unfortunate that within, the NHS, we can't do that yet. But how do we find healthcare, and I feel, to help find better health in the whole vessel? The osteopaths, they describe the body as the primary machinery of life. It's essentially the vessel, as one of my clients said. It's the vessel. She said a lovely sentence: my body is the ship that I sail through my life on.
It's beautiful that it is true, which is that's an amazing phrase. And I think your example around the starting with the back pain and then how it changes our behavior, then how we limit ourselves. As you were talking, I was thinking, that's how it changes. And I realize, even for myself, two things. One of the things is, and you may not know this, but some people might, Louise Hay, who's no longer around for years, she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And I bought this book about 35 years ago, and I still have it. I have 2 copies. And she has a whole thing around, if you got pain in your body, what is it related to? And she goes into your back, the lower back, middle back, and the top back. And I always used to go there thinking, oh, if I got lower back pain, it's to do with lack of support in my life. And sometimes if I looked emotionally, that was true. But my point is that the limiting of the pain in the body, I know I've come to realize that makes me more grumpy, because you're right, it is limiting. You can't do, because you're in pain, you're in suffering. And I think it's about how do you can heal yourself before you get to that stage. So my question to you, is there something that we can do to stop ourselves to getting to that, maybe not the chronic place, but to our behavioral changes where we self-limit ourselves?
Yeah, of course. There are loads of things. I think for me, I'm increasingly seeing that going back to this idea of the vessel or the ship, the physical vessel that carries us through life, is the why. And I know purpose with a capital P is a big trendy thing at the moment, but it comes back to, why do I need my body to work for me? Is it because you want to run a marathon or win a gold medal or be a CEO? Is it because you want to walk the dog. It doesn't have to be, or is it because you want to be the best coach in the world, or the best therapist in the world, or the best yoga teacher no, I don't want to be the best yoga teacher in the world, but the best yoga teacher that you can be, or the best you can live your life to the purpose that really resonates, right? Mm-hmm. And so some people will be happy on the level of, I just want my body to look brilliant and to be brilliant. But I think my sense is that for most people, that's not the driver of better health. The driver of better health is, why do I want to be healthy? And it's that question that I would encourage everybody to ask. Mm-hmm. And so I think then, and if we could share this knowledge about the body just being the vessel. The ship analogy is interesting, right? If you had a luxury yacht, and let's face it, our body, each of our bodies, it's the most luxury vessel we're ever going to get, right? There would be a team of people looking after it, wouldn't there? There'd be someone washing the outside, someone looking at the engine, not when it breaks down, but all the rest of the time. I always think of it. Yeah, prevention. That's where it comes down to. And if we think, I don't know, people with classic cars, right? They spend more time buffing the door of the car than they do looking after their own body often, or their own mind.
So do you think the reason why we don't spend effort and time looking after our body, because we believe we haven't got time to do this, and it takes a lot of time to do looking after yourself?
So I don't think it does take a lot of time to look after yourself. Again, simple wisdom. There are some very simple, quick things that you can do. But we could have to do 2 more podcasts about why I think there's sort of political, societal, cultural reasons for us not looking at prevention. I think they're multifactorial, and I think it's definitely an interesting area because, yeah, we can talk about that another time. But I think things have to be simple for normal people like me, like you, to integrate them into our life. So they become just as simple as making a cup of tea in the morning, whatever you need to do, brushing your teeth. We're already doing healthcare behaviors, right? We brush our teeth, we do our ablutions. What if you could add something onto that would be accretive to your health and give you better health? And, the evidence shows generally that you need commitment, regularity, consistency of healthcare behaviors. You need to establish new habits. But what are the blocks to doing that? I don't know about you. The blocks for me are things that are too complicated. Throwing out all the food, buying a whole new different type of shopping, etc. So I guess what I help my patients and companies and everybody that I work with is, can you just really pare it down? And at the end of the day, you have to just start where you are now, right? If I could find 5 minutes a day or 30 minutes twice a week, would that just be enough? Yeah, okay, it's not going on a 10K run. It's not training for a run or doing something like that. But is it enough to just start to notice the difference? And then, we're addictive human beings, right? Once we feel that, it's about feeling better. And that feeling better, I think we've got into, is it that my knee feels better or is it that my mind feels better? It doesn't matter. Think of it as, do I feel better?
Yeah, do I feel better? I think it's quite simple, that, isn't it? In a sense. How would you depart some pearls of wisdom for someone who's almost at the cusp of looking at simple wisdom for better health?
So I'd say, number one question, why do you want better health? What do you need it for? Okay. And could be the next 10 years, I'm going to retire and I want my retirement to look like this. This is the picture I have. You have to connect it to something that draws you, right? Or it might be, we're all carrot or stick or a little bit of both. But sit down and with the help of a coach or a therapist, work out, if you need that extra help, why do I need good health, right? And then perhaps a little audit, right? Where is my health good? Where is my health not so good? If we were going on a journey, we'd have to map, you'd have to know where you're starting from, right? And that's when you're going to have success. is that you've mapped the terrain a little bit without being complicated, right? Where is it? Then when you know where is the most pain in your life? Is it in your body? Is it in your emotional layer? Is it in the mental layer? Is it in how you interact with the world? Then we've got somewhere to start, right? Throw away all the self-help books. That would be tip number 2. Yeah. And then just start doing some simple things. And I don't really want to channel Theresa May, but you know the phrase from the Brexit days of take back control? It would be, we need to, as therapists, empower other people, but as ourselves, empower ourselves to take back control of that health experience. And then a little bit of movement, a little bit of breathing. If I was to give you just 3 things to do, would that be helpful?
Yeah, fantastic. Yes.
3 things that I would do every day. The practice of gratitude, right? So much research evidence, even though someone of my age, initially I was a little bit wary of it, thought it was quite a sort of hippie, newfangled thing. Such good evidence that it improves your mental and emotional well-being. It's really simple, right? 3 things every day that I'm grateful for. Just say them out loud. That's your starting point. Yeah, obviously you get better if you write it down. But gratitude, breathe. Just notice that you're breathing. That's all you need to do to start with, right? Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose. Oh, if you notice that you're feeling tense or edgy, and I know you've practiced this with me in class, it could be just enough to switch that nervous system, right? And then number 3, move a little bit. Reach up every day. Yeah, roll your shoulders around every day. Start with those 3 things and then come back and talk to me in 2 weeks' time. And I would say that is where all you need to start.
I can continue to listen and talk to you for a longer time than we have, Anji. So thank you very much for your wisdom, your pointers around how we can have a greater sense of our own health in a very simple way. So I'm really grateful for you coming on this podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me.